You've been told your entire life to pick one thing, specialize, niche down, become the best in one lane, and stay there. The school system reinforced it. Your career counselor pushed it. The internet turned it into a religion. And so you did what any rational person would do. You obeyed. You picked your lane. You tried to stay focused. And somewhere along the way, a deep and persistent feeling started crawling under your skin. The feeling that you were built for more than this, that your curiosity about a dozen different fields wasn't a character flaw, but something else entirely. Something that the system never had the language to describe. That feeling wasn't anxiety or distraction. It was the first signal of a cognitive architecture that, when properly understood and engineered, becomes one of the most powerful performance advantages a human being can activate. It's called the Polymath advantage. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to break down exactly what it is, why specialization has been quietly suffocating your potential, and how you can reconstruct your mental operating system to start using this advantage. Not in years, not in months, but in days. Let's start with the model that failed you. For decades, the dominant belief in education, psychology, and career development was that mastery required singular focus. The 10,000 hours framework entered the cultural bloodstream and turned specialization into a moral virtue. People who jumped between interests were labeled scattered, unfocused, or worse, uncommitted. If you've ever felt guilty for wanting to learn programming while also being fascinated by philosophy, neuroscience, and economics, the system designed that guilt. It installed it like firmware. You used willpower. You blocked distractions, made schedules, tried habit trackers, and then the pull came back, the curiosity about something else, the restlessness. You failed, blamed yourself, and tried again. But the failure was never yours. The model was broken. The cognitive architecture of a polymath brain doesn't respond to forced narrowing the way a specialist brain does. Trying to compress a multi-threaded processor into a single core operation doesn't make it more efficient. It creates friction, heat, and eventual breakdown. The problem wasn't your discipline. The problem was that nobody ever taught you how your actual system works. So let's talk about the biology of what's been happening inside your skull. Your brain's default mode network, the system that activates during mind-wandering, creative ideation, and cross-domain thinking, is significantly more active in individuals with high curiosity across multiple domains. This isn't poetic language. This is observable neurological behavior. When you force this kind of brain into rigid specialization, you're starving the default mode network of its natural fuel. The result is a drop in dopaminergic activity in the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for executive function, long-term planning, and motivational architecture. Think of it like a turbocharged engine forced to run on a single cylinder. The mechanical stress isn't just inefficient, it's destructive. Meanwhile, cortisol levels rise because the system registers threat, the suppression of exploration-seeking behavior, which in evolutionary terms is a survival mechanism. Your brain literally interprets forced intellectual confinement as danger. That restlessness you feel, that's not weakness. It's a high-performance biological system sending distress signals because it's being operated against its design specifications. Share this with someone who's been told their curiosity is a problem. Now here's where it gets interesting. The polymath advantage isn't just about having multiple interests. It's about a specific cognitive phenomenon called cross-domain pattern transfer, the mechanism that most self-development frameworks have completely missed. When your brain builds deep familiarity in multiple unrelated fields, it begins mapping structural similarities between domains. The feedback loop that governs musical rhythm starts illuminating the feedback loops in economic systems. The pattern recognition you develop in chess starts bleeding into how you read social dynamics. This is not metaphor. This is how breakthroughs actually happen. Leonardo da Vinci didn't revolutionize anatomy through specialization. He revolutionized it because his cross-domain mind brought engineering mechanics, water flow observation, and fine art precision into a field that had previously operated in isolation. That architecture is not rare genius. It's a trainable cognitive pattern, and you can start building it in days. The reason most methods fail people with polymath tendencies is that they're designed for linear minds. Productivity systems, habit frameworks, focus protocols, all assume a brain that responds to narrowing. But your system needs what I call structured divergence, a protocol that channels your cross-domain curiosity into a deliberate architecture of skill compounding. Stop treating your multiple interests as competing priorities and start treating them as a portfolio. Map out the 3 to 5 domains you return to consistently, the ones you actually return to without being told. These are your anchor domains. Next, begin cross-domain journaling. 15 minutes daily, sitting at the intersection of 2 anchor domains and asking one question: what is what I learned in domain A? Tell me about domain B. This is deliberate neural pathway construction. You are literally building synaptic bridges between existing knowledge structures that compound over days and become automatic over weeks. If this is already clicking for you, hit that subscribe button, because the deeper protocols are what come next. The next element is velocity learning, the most misunderstood component of this whole system. Most people believe that learning multiple domains means learning each one slowly, superficially, in constant rotation. That's not how a polymath brain operates at its best. Velocity learning means going deep in one domain for a focused sprint, typically 14 to 21 days, extracting the structural core, and then deliberately letting it rest while you sprint into another. The key neurological principle is that the brain consolidates learning during rest and during engagement with other material. When you sprint into domain B, after a deep dive in domain A, your hippocampus is still processing domain A in the background. The consolidation continues, and it begins cross-referencing. This is why polymaths often report sudden insights about one field while studying something completely unrelated. You're not being unfocused when you move between domains. You're feeding the consolidation engine. Pair this with social proof of concept, expressing your cross-domain thinking publicly in any form, starting now. Not for external validation, but because articulation accelerates integration. Explicit connections become durable connections. And identity is the deepest layer of behavioral programming in the human system. Now let's talk about maintenance, because this is where most people let the architecture decay. The polymath operating system is not a one-time installation. It requires periodic recalibration, what I call cognitive inventory, which you run every 30 days. You assess 3 things: which anchor domain has received the least activation this month, where unexpected cross-domain insights have appeared, and what new domain you've been suppressing. That suppression signal is especially critical. When you feel pulled toward a new field and resist it, you create cognitive friction that gradually reduces the entire system's energy. A healthy polymath architecture doesn't resist new curiosity. It assesses it, integrates it deliberately, or schedules a return to it. The difference between a scattered mind and a polymath mind isn't the number of interests. It's the presence of an intentional architecture that governs how those interests interact and compound. And this is where the mindset shift becomes non-negotiable. Stop apologizing for your complexity. Depth in a polymath system is measured differently, not by how far you've gone in one tunnel, but by how many tunnels you've connected, and what new geography you've discovered at their intersections. The people who will solve the most complex problems and operate with the greatest cognitive sovereignty in the coming decades are not the narrow specialists. They are the cross-domain architects, the people who looked at their scattered curiosity and decided to engineer it rather than suppress it. That is the polymath advantage, and it was already inside you. Share this video. Someone in your circle needs to hear it. The architecture is ready. The only question is whether you are.